Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to
Shit!
another video
No
tutorial.
power!
On this video, I'm going to be covering blending. Now, blending is when you have one or more textures mixed together to make a unique texture. Now, if you look at the floor, you'll see that it has this checkered floor, but then over here it has like some stones and rocks, like a dirt pile. Now, that's actually blended together to make the map look a little bit more real, a little bit more appealing. If you look over here, it's mixed in a little bit more. Over here, there's blood, little blood trails. Now, that's all blending, and that's what I'm going to be showing you guys in this tutorial video. Back over at Radiant, I'm going to show you guys how to do some blending. So let's let this bad boy load up, and let's get this show on the road. Come on, baby. There we go. All right, cool. So in order to do some blending, we're gonna need a floor. Let me just drag out a brush, put it under the blue, so I know where the floor starts. Okay, now I'm gonna select the basic texture, what I want my floor to look like. That way I could blend it along with something else. All right, let's pick this checkerboard texture. There you go. All right, let me go at an angle, go a little bit further up. All right, cool. All right, so there's our floor. Now it's nice and basic, doesn't really have any appeal to it, but once we start doing some blending, it'll start to shine. All right, so what you want to do is you want to select the floor, you want to go over to patch, and you want to turn this into a simple terrain patch, which is right over here. Click on that, and then once you click on that, it's going to show you terrain density. Now, it's showing you how many subdivisions and boxes it's going to give the terrain patch. As far as width, it's going to give it 2. And as far as height, it's going to give it 2 also. Now, anytime you do blending, you want to give it a fair amount. So I'm going to put this on 20 and 20. Click OK. And now it turned it into a terrain patch. As you can see, there's a bunch of boxes all over this, and it actually shrunk it down into like a flat piece of paper. Now that's what a terrain patch is. It's parts of the terrain that you can modify. Now, if let's say if you let it go, it's not selected, and you right click over it. See, if I right click, it gives me those options. If I right click over the terrain, it'll actually show me the texture that it is. So it's saying WC/Berlin underscore floor, and then all that good stuff. So what you want to do is you want to select it. Either you could hold shift and left click and select the patch, and you can go to side view, hit spacebar and copy it, and then you want to move it back to the same spot that it's on. Now that's one way of making 2 terrain patches. Once you already have one, you can just copy the other and leave it in the same spot. Now in terms of regular brushes, you don't want to do that because it's going to start giving you a glitchy look to it once you're in game. But in terms of terrain patches, that's fine because that's how you do blending. Now that's one way of copying it. As you can see, there's 2 of them. Now I'm going to delete this one. I'm going to go back. I'm going to select the original one. Right now it's only 1 terrain patch. Now the easy way to copy and paste it is by holding Control, and then you press the C button, and that's for copy. Right now it didn't make a sound, it didn't do anything, it just copied it. Now if you actually physically want to put it, hold Control and press V to paste. And there you go. Now if you right click on it, now you can see that we have 2 terrain patches. It deselected the original and it selected the new version, or the new one. Now they both have the same texture right now. Now in order for us to do some blending, we have to make one of these textures a blend texture. Now if you go over to textures, usage, all, it's showing us a regular texture, Berlin, ceiling, metal. If if I scroll down, there's actually some that do say blend on them. Or else there's other textures that instead of being a regular texture, it's also a blend texture, which is this one over here. What's that say? A toe chip metal ribs blend. Now, if I click on that and you right click on it with it being selected or not selected, it'll show you that there's two textures here now because there's two patches right above another. So what you want to do is you want to have the blend texture selected, just click on it. Then when you right click, you can see that it has a check on one of the textures. That's the one that's currently selected. And now we can do some blending. So what you want to do is you want to hit the Y button. That way it'll bring up this option. It's the advanced patch editing options. And with this, you can actually start blending these textures together. Right now we have the blend texture selected. Once we start modifying it, it'll start revealing the texture that's right under it. So in order to do that, we're going to press V on the keyboard to show the verts. There you go. And as you can see, it has every square at the end of it has a little dot. And that way you can modify these. Now you can either modify a terrain patch by moving it up or down. As you can see, if I moved it down, it's revealing the texture that's under it. So we're going to leave it like that. But this time we're going to hit alpha. Right now it was on height, on default. We want to put it on alpha because that's how we do blending. And we also want to check flatten because right now it's on disabled. So we want to enable it. So you hit flatten and you hit alpha. And then when you highlight it, you can notice that it has a circle over it now, meaning that you can actually do some blending. So in order to do blending, you have to hold you have to hold Alt. And then you either right click or left click. Right click and it will add the texture. Well, actually left click and it'll add the texture. Left click and it'll take it away. Hold on. Let's select it again. Select the blend texture. Hold Alt. And there you go. Now you can actually start revealing some of the texture. And as you can see, there's two now. So select the blend, right click, it'll show you the two textures that are there, the two patches. Make sure it's always on the blend if you want to do blending. And then right where this circle is, there's actually two circles, but one of the outer radiuses is a little higher than the other. So we want to bump that down. Pull this up. And as you can see, there's two. So there's an inner radius and an outer radius. It's kind of like a light. So you always want to keep the inner radius smaller than the outer radius. If not, then it won't really show you anything. So make sure you keep the outer radius bigger than the inner radius. And as you can see, now it'll start blending the little area within the boxes, well, the circles. So hold Alt, left click, and it'll take away the texture. If you hold Alt and you right click, it'll add the texture. Keep going over it, and it'll keep adding where the dots are. Press escape, and as you can see. Now let's say if you want to slow it down or pick up the speed of the blend you're doing, you just move the amplitude either up or down. If you move it down, it'll do it slower. If you move it up, it'll do it faster. So if I leave it up, hold Alt, right click, or actually make sure the blend is selected. Go like that, hold Alt, right click, and you see it puts it on there quick. Hold Alt, right click, take it away quick. If I bump it down, it'll do it slower. So it's actually adding a texture, but it's more detailed along with it. See how I'm hovering over in it, holding the Alt and right click. Press escape, and as you can see, it's adding little bits of it. That's how you do blending. Now let's change this blend texture to another blend texture. So we're gonna select it, just right click on top of the terrain patch, click on the one that says blend. If you right click, you'll see that it has a check over it, so that's the one that's selected. It's showing that we have two of them. One is a non-blend texture, the checkered box one, and then the one that looks like little pieces of wood is the blend texture. So we're going to change that one. Click on the blend one, go over here, and look for any texture that has the word blend at the end of it. You know, if you're having trouble finding a blend texture, when you go to textures, show all, you know, easiest way to find a blend texture is if you go right over here, right next to the stamp button, there's the F, click on that, and it's actually the find texture, texture search. So what you want to do is you want to type in the name. I mean, it could even be the letters. Like if you put B, it'll actually start showing me all the textures that begin with B or have a B in them. If you put blend, it'll actually show you all the blend textures. So these are all the textures we can modify. That way it'll reveal the basic texture under. So let me pick one of them. If anything, let me pick a grass texture. There you go. And hold Alt, left click. It adds. Put the amplitude up so it does it faster. See how it's taken away when you hold Alt, left click. And if you want to add, you right click. So let me back up a little bit more. There we go. Hold Alt, and I'm just gonna take away texture, the grass in the middle, so it'll leave the grass on the sides. And as you can see, I'm holding Alt, left clicking, and it's taking away the blend texture, so it could reveal the texture that's under it. And it's that simple to do blending. Now there's 3 different ways of doing blending. This is just one. I'm gonna do a 3-part on blending. So this is part 1. But if you press escape, and as you can see, there's 2 textures. One is the grass, and the other one is the Berlin floor. Now let's say if we want to add a 3rd texture to this. Right click, you know, select one of them because they're both terrain patches. Doesn't matter which one it is. You just don't want to have them as the same texture. So let's say I'll click on this one. That's just the checkered floor. Now you want to hold Control, press C to copy. Without letting Control go, press V. And if you right click again, now you see you have 3. 2 of them with the same texture and 1 of them with a blend texture. Now if you want to blend in another texture, you look for another blend one. Now let's look for a blend texture that has rocks or some gravel. Let's see. There we go. There's some. So once I click on it, whichever texture is selected, it's gonna set it to that texture. So let me click on here. You know, with the Y2 already open, under Alpha and Flatten, hold Alt, left click, and it'll start taking away the rock texture. And it's revealing the 2 textures that are under it. So let me keep doing that. We do a little bit over here so it can reveal the grass texture also. Press escape. And as you can see, there's 3 textures now. some grass, some checkered floor, and some gravel. And that's pretty cool for some detailed mapping.
And there you have it, guys. If you liked the video, hit that like button and subscribe for future content. I'll see you guys in the next one. Be safe.